Republicans jump starting the health care repeal debate today, and this will be a big week. A new Rasmussen poll shows this. A growing number of Americans, 18%, want to leave the law as is. 27% say leave the current law in place and remove the most unpopular parts. Phil Gingrey is a Republican out of Georgia. He serves on the Energy and Commerce Health Subcommittee and co-chair of the Republican Doctors Caucus. He's also a physician. What don't you do?
Bill, I don't practice medicine anymore, and I miss it very much, but certainly our work in the Congress is a heavy lift, and I'm thoroughly enjoying it in my 9th year.
Can Republicans not afford to bring this up? I mean, where does it take you ultimately? Where does it get you?
Well, we have to bring it up, Bill. This is a promise that was made to the American people. Many of the new members, 87, the 63 net new Republicans, campaigned on this pledge, on this promise, and they were elected because of that. And the reason they were elected because the American people, and you mentioned at the top of the show the Rasmussen poll, 18%, if that's a growing number, it hasn't grown very much. 18% want us to keep the bill as is and do nothing, but fully 75% in that same poll want us to either outright repeal and replace, or keep the bill but gut as much as we can and improve
I
it.
think
so
that's
75%.
A great point. That's a great point on the 75%. What that tells you is that the overwhelming majority, they do like some aspects of the law. So where do the minds meet on which issues?
Well, I won't say the overarching majority like what's in the law. 47% don't. And really, we will, Thursday morning, we'll have a vote which will direct the committees of jurisdiction in the House, so Ways and Means, Energy and Commerce, Education and Workforce, to begin replacement bills. But we will have that vote on Wednesday evening to repeal. Bill, it will pass. It will pass with bipartisan
I'm sure it will.
support.
I think
we may have 8 or 10 Democrats that will vote to repeal it.
It seems like 8, 10, maybe 15. You know, I don't know how you're waging this thing, but that's the over-under at this point. But my point was, there are aspects of the law that some Americans like. You know, the pre-existing conditions. There seems to be agreement on both sides when it comes to that. That pre-existing conditions, you cannot be kicked out of your insurance company. Where else do you find common ground?
Well, in regard to the pre-existing conditions, we can do that outside of Patient Protection Affordable Care Act of 2010, the 2,400-page bill. We can clearly do that. We can say to insurance companies, if an employee has worked for a company for a number of years and developed some health problems, coronary artery disease, type 2 diabetes, whatever. And if they want to take another job and they go to another company, then that health insurance company, if they offer a plan there, should continue to rate that individual at standard rates. And of course, the states can create, and have done it in my state of Georgia, high-risk pools where the charge for those individuals is no more than 2.5 times standard rates. And if they're low income, then the state and federal government can help them. We can do these things without having the federal government taking over health care lock, stock, and barrel.
Just one more point on this, because at 10 o'clock there's going to be a report comes out of Washington that says 129 million Americans under the age of 65 have pre-existing conditions. That's a huge number. I don't know if it's accurate or not, but that's what they're going to say. One more point on this. Do you feel that you have lost any momentum in your push to repeal health care?
Bill, I don't think so. You know, we, for the last week, obviously, and we continue to pray with all our heart and souls for the families of the 6 victims that were killed, for the speedy and complete recovery of the injured, especially our colleague Gabrielle Giffords. Our Republican leadership, in respect for them, very appropriately suspended all legislation last week, as you know. It is time for us to get back to doing the people's work, and that's what we do this week. We have got to do these responsible things because the American people have asked us to do that, and that is our charge.
Thank you for your time. You're in Atlanta. Get back to Washington. They're waiting on you.
I'm on the way up in about an hour, Bill. Thank you very much.
Phil Gingrey, thank you. Live in Georgia today.